Hey folks, and welcome to the MetaMax competitive tier list video update. We just got a pretty significant release of new clan variants as well as just the general meta changing over the last month and a half or so since I did a tier list update. And so that's basically what I'm going to be going over in this one. Let's go over the change notes now. I added the Nova Prime AB to tier 3. This is because it got a... This is for long range. It's got a left torso energy hardpoint, which means you could do the double ER PVC with decently high mounts, all 5 jump jets, a lot of heat sinks. You don't have to sacrifice armor to fit it like you used to. So I feel like this is a pretty good one. And also, I believe the new arms give you some, I think it's energy cooldown perk. So that could be really interesting. Still tier 3 though, because I don't see it being that great. And I've also replaced the existing Direwolf and Warhawks with their new variants, the Direwolf B and Direwolf C. And we're looking at new builds of those. So Direwolf B is basically what I wanted to do was make it really high mounted ER large lasers, which you can do now. They're not super high mounted like a Stalker, but they're higher than most other clan mechs, except for the Hellbringer and maybe the Stormcrow. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as the old build. 4 ER large lasers, 2 Gauss. I had to sacrifice some heat sinks for the jump jet, but it's got plenty of ammo for comp matches, and it should be good. And for the Warhawk, basically the old one was 5 ER large, this one is 6 ER large, because now we have a center torso hardpoint. It's super hot, and you'll have to manage your firing groups very well. I would say 2 at a time, almost always. Maybe every once in a while you can do 3 and 3 if heat allows, and the situation is, the situation allows too. But yeah, it gets an extra heat sink and it gets an extra ER large laser, so it's an improvement. And I also moved the Thunderbolt 9S out of tier 1 and into tier 2, because while it is great, it is sort of a medium long range. I kind of want to just put it in both, but I just didn't end up doing that. It can't compete with the firing line of the clan mechs at super long range. So yeah, that's why I did that. And then moving on to medium range, I added the Warhawk C to tier 2. That's the new one with the energy hardpoint and CT. It's at the bottom of tier 2 because I don't see it being very good, but it's decent enough. It's laser bomb, like a laser bomb Timberwolf plus a Gauss rifle, and it's got more heat sinks too, so it's got potential. It's just the whole hitbox, that stuff's gonna really hurt it. And I also, again, replaced the Direwolf with the Direwolf S. This one's just the UAC build with a jump jet, and the Gargoyle D with a Gargoyle Prime. Or, what? I think I forgot to label that Gargoyle Prime. But anyways, it's Gargoyle... Oh, never mind. I was looking at the short range. I did it right, guys. Don't worry. Alright, Gargoyle Prime. 1 large pulse and 6 ER meads. Finally, this mech isn't complete shit. I could see this being a legitimately good build. Not terribly great at comp, but maybe if you want to do some Besm, it would be a viable choice for that, to stick with the Timberwolves. I don't know. We'll see how that pans out in like class restricted drop decks as opposed to tonnage ones. So besides that, for medium range stuff, moved the Stalker up in tier 2, the 4N, just because it's so powerful now. I'd say it's the best IS behind the Banshee. I think that it is the best IS medium range mech behind the Banshee. The Misery, I would say, is still better overall, but specific to comp medium range, I think the 4N has an edge. I also moved the Wolverine 6K up in tier 2 because it's similarly the best IS at medium range. And I moved the Gargoyle Prime up in tier 3. I believe that's because there was already a Gargoyle there, so I moved it up because it got a better build. And I also updated the Timberwolf C build with the D's left arm because it gives a heat gen quirk, I believe, as opposed to just like an arm movement quirk that the S got it. Really tiny change. Don't even worry about it if you don't know what I'm talking about. And I updated the Stormcrow build to be ASIM because the D left arm, if you look here, has those 4 energy hard points. Damn it, I did the short range one again. Sorry. Alright, so that's that 4 energy hard points, so you can do the 5 ERMs and a large pulse like you were doing before, but all in the left side, which I see being very valuable for poking from that side. You do lose out on the high mounts. That's a decision you're going to have to make. Maybe some people take the ER large laser version. I could see that being a good option too, but this is the one that I'm looking at for medium range is all. Alright, and on to short range. Added the Gargoyle D to Tier 2. You caught a glimpse of that earlier. It's at the bottom of Tier 2 because I don't know how it's going to work out. But 12 ER small lasers with a TC1 and 29 heat sinks looks very attractive to me. It's going to be hot, but it's not even that hot. 40% is what you're looking at around for most laser vomit builds anyways. This one is just shorter range. So the heat is a slightly bigger deal, but as long as you fire them separately, you can stay going for a while. And I believe if you only do 6, yeah, 6 is almost heat neutral. So, I mean, that's a pretty sweet DPS as far as I'm concerned. And I also replaced the Timberwolf C with a Timberwolf S with a new build. Now that we got the D side torsos, if you have one, I'll rant about that later. You can just use those for the 4 missile hard points, and it's basically just superior. I put in SRM4s, even though they don't sync up directly with the LB20X, because I would recommend using an LB20X cooldown module. And that way they would sync up almost perfectly, and you could really get going with that stuff. And also the SRM4s are tighter, and they have better DPS per square meter is the best way I can describe it, because they're tighter, they shoot faster, they just have a bit less alpha. Anyways, I think it's a really strong build. I think it's the best brawler in the game right now, and you have to pay money for it. Okay, moving on. Direwolf Prime A, I replaced the Direwolf S with a new build. This is the sperm whale that I made when the Direwolf first came out, but I updated it a little bit. As you can see, it now has an 87 alpha strike with 9.36 sustained DPS and almost 25 maximum. 2 LB20s, LB5, 3 SRM6s, without Artemis unfortunately because you can't fit it in that CT, and a small pulse laser, and plenty of ammo and heat sinks to keep you going. I think it's fucking amazing. Obviously, the problem with this is the same problem that you're always going to have with the Direwolf Brawler, is that you won't be able to get into the close quarter engagements that you want because of how slow it is. But, I mean, it's got a jump jet, so that's going to help. But overall, it's the nastiest Brawler in the game if you can convince the enemy to come that close to you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for sure. Oh wait, yeah, I updated the Stormcrow with the D left arm. Actually, let's take a look at that because it is more than just like a simple little thing. I changed it also to ER small lasers because now you have the hard points for it. Got some extra heat sinks. I think it's overall just a better build than it had before. Yeah. Alright, so that's it for short range, and for scouts I basically switched the positions of the FS9S and the FS9H. Or actually, I moved the FS9S even higher. It's at the top of Tier 1 now. I did that because I think it's a better scout than the FS9A. It's not as good at those full-on engagements where you're just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, but it has longer range so it can poke better. It can poke off enemy lights better because of that range, and like you don't have to be as close, so it's better at the scouting. Just in general, because you can contend with enemy shorter range lights. And the FS9H, I felt like it just wasn't panning out. I felt like the S is just better than it in almost every way. Obviously it doesn't have as much range, but other than that it's just better, and it's better and significant enough of a way for it to be Tier 1 and for the H to be Tier 2. So that's it for the competitive tier list. And I'll put up a video on the other tier list updates that I think are significant enough to warrant a video as well. Thanks for watching.